To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados de las
This here's
puertas.
a wild ride in the wilderness.
When indiscreet doors change.
So today on Miles from Main Street, we are discussing a villains park. Would it work? Would it not work? We're going to find out. I've got my buddy Brian here. How are you doing, Brian?
Doing well, Mikhailo. Say, everybody, we love having you listen. We love getting your help. Go on out and share the show. Let them know how much you love listening, and let us know about your villains park. So, Mikhailo, this villains idea, like, I don't know if you've been seeing on the internets lately, but they've been talking about this, and I think it was put out by either a former Imagineer or an Imagineer that's gone nameless, but somebody put out some ideas they have about Frontierland and how they'd revamp that with the new Tiana ride, and how they would go behind Big Thunder. Because if you remember, during D23 Expo, they did a blue sky session where they said, well, you know, we could do something on the other side of Big Thunder Mountain. And I've been like thinking about that a little bit, and this has been something that's been coming up recently. You know, everyone's always been talking about Disney needs a fifth gate, and I'm starting to think that a little more, that they need to do something because of how big the crowds are, that maybe we could thin it out a little bit if there's another park. I don't know. But that's beside our point, right? Right now we were talking this blue sky that they came out with, and this kind of shows leading all the way over to Haunted Mansion, like a revamp that they would do. It would fix the timeline issue, which if you aren't aware of the timeline issue, we can get into that. But it would also kind of expand the park. And one of those things is behind Big Thunder is that they're talking about putting a villains land back there. So you and I were talking, and we thought maybe we could talk a little villains theming.
Yeah, and I guess for me, and I hear people talk about this all the time, about, oh, they're going to make a villains park, and it's going to be like all the villains. And I guess for me, that's something that I don't think I could get into. Like a villain's land, I think might be cool. But like, I don't know. I guess for me, and it's interesting because people have been like really hyped up about it, about like an entire park. And villains are cool. Don't get me wrong. It's like cool to see villains in parades and stuff, like around Halloween and everything. I just don't think there would be, I don't know, I guess for me, I don't think there would be enough there to warrant an entire park. Like, I just don't know what all, like how they could frame this. And when you think about it, like you can't just like have like, oh, Hercules land, like Hades land. And then you've got, I can't think of any other, I can't think of any other villains. Maybe this is why I'm just not a big villain fan. Who's the villain in Aladdin? What's his name?
Jafar,
like Jafar Land or something like that. I don't know. Like how would they split up this park? So I guess that's kind of what I'm having a hard time like wrapping my head around, is like what all they would put into this park. And maybe it's because I'm only thinking like animated villains, because that's all we ever really see of villains, other than like the Star Wars villains, which like they kind of already have an area. They have a corner of Batuu that is like the villain area.
right? Yeah.
But yeah, I for me it's tough to kind of think that like this could be a whole park.
True. You know, the thing with the villains though is like, the part I have trouble with is, why are we there? Like, if you look at like Magic Kingdom, this is where they live. And so we're kind of just visiting the area, you know, like you got these different lands and you've got different themings, and the rides have stories that are just kind of fun and whimsical, right? Like I'm thinking of Splash Mountain right now. Like the reason you're going on this ride is just to have a good time and watch Brer Rabbit go through a story. But what's the story in a villain's park? Why are we there? You know, when we were kind of throwing this around before we hit record, I started to say, well, what if it's a reverse Magic Kingdom? What if the villains have haunted all of the rides that you would get in a Magic Kingdom? And, you know, like maybe that's what it is. Like you think you're going on It's a Small World, but then you get in there and it's haunted. There's a book series out there. I don't know if you've read Kingdom Keepers, Mikhailo.
I've heard of it.
We have the first book floating around this house somewhere. I started reading it, but in my wonderful reading life, I never seemed to finish anything. I didn't finish that book. There is a portion of that book where the dolls in It's a Small World come to life and start attacking the main characters, right? So, like, my son's never getting on that ride. But, you know, I wonder if there's something that they would do like they could do like that. Like, you know, Cinderella's castle is haunted by Maleficent. And, you know, I don't know. It's not a fully fleshed out idea in my head yet, but that was kind of the first thing that I was going towards, is maybe we just kind of flip Magic Kingdom.
So I'm gonna ask you to go with me here, but this is I'm gonna just talk about something else real quick. Go with me here. The way that you're talking about this is making me think about the way that they wanted to fix the celebrity limo ride out in what's that park called?
Disney's California
Adventure.
We were just there.
I was literally just there for a conference. But yeah, Superstar Limo, the way that they wanted to fix Superstar Limo was they were going to put the Muppets into it and have the Muppets doing like fixing the ride, like taking the animatronics out and being like, oh God, this is terrible. Why are they doing this? And then at the end of the ride, it was just all Muppets. That kind of sounds like kind of what you're talking about, where it's like, it's a ride, but it's also like, so it's like supposed to be one thing, but it's different because there's a villain inside of it, like doing villain things. Which, I mean, I hate to burst your bubble, Brian, but if you do like Peter Pan's Flight, yeah, like, I mean, well, actually, yeah, he's in there too. Disney already does a good job of like introducing the villains in their rides, and this has always kind of been I've heard this before, like the recipe to good Disney ride storytelling is you start out with something normal, like you're going somewhere normal, and then there's adversity and you overcome the adversity.
Right. Like,
yeah.
And that's always what it is, right? Like you hear it from all the other people on YouTubes and everything, like, you know, in true Disney fashion, something goes wrong, you know, like that's always the thing.
That's in my head. That's what that exact quote. I know. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And I've got Mickey Mouse in my head from Runaway Railway right now when they hit the switch. Oh no! You know,
I think I hit the track switch.
Yes, that's it.
It's all my fault.
And Goofy at the end saying, "See, told you nothing would go wrong." But that's kind of the thing, right? So as I've been saying, like we flip it on its head. what would those look like? Well, obviously we can't just say we're getting on in It's a Small World and then it goes awry, because I mean, well, that one, it would work, but it wouldn't work very well with Peter Pan.
Because they are, yeah, that's already kind of in
Right.
the story.
But the difference could be that instead of Peter Pan winning, he doesn't.
I'm almost thinking of like a villain's ride. But that's the thing, is like so, and like talking about what you're talking about, I don't know how you would do this, but like it's all of the villains messing around at Disney World. Like that's the ride.
Okay.
So it's like you're going to Peter Pan's flight and Hook is like messing everything up. And then you go to Pirates of the Caribbean and Barbosa, or whoever is the worst bad guy in Pirates of the Caribbean now at this point, is messing things up. And then you go to the Beast's castle and the Beast is messing things up. I don't know how you would do that. But that would be interesting. Just like, and so it would actually be kind of cool that like you get little snippets of all of these different rides that are in that park, and the villains are messing them all up. And then at the end, you've got like your main villain that like Mickey has to take care of. So something like that.
Or it's just a phantasmic ride.
Exactly.
Maleficent's at the end and he says, "Oh boy," and he wins.
Or Maleficent catches on fire and Mickey gives a big nod, and then he slowly
leaves. Like,
goes into
yes,
the floor.
get me the heck out of here. Rest in peace,
Yep.
Murphy. Oh,
Yep.
that poor dragon. Like, and that's why it's called Murphy, is like, if anything can go wrong.
Exactly. Yeah. I heard that. Yeah. That's crazy.
Anyway, you had to bring that up. I hope that they can get that show back up and running. Like, I know how much people in Disneyland love it. So, but back to Villains Park. Like, I totally agree that like a ride like that would work. But if like, even if we weren't doing a park, what if we just were theming that land? It's hard for me to, like you said, it's hard to understand how it would work. You know, what's the why?
Mm-hmm. And and that's hard, especially with it being in Magic Kingdom, because like those characters, like if we rounded up all the villains of that park and put them in that area, they'd still be scattered around the park, like in those different areas. So like, why would they all be in one area? Now, the typical Disney answer to that is they've all gotten together to form an alliance to get rid of Mickey or something like that, because they have that in different shows. Like the stage show for like the Hocus Pocus show is basically those three witches bringing out all of the villains, which is really cool. So like that does happen.
And that's Maleficent. That's what she's doing during Phantasmic, right? She's kind of pulling everybody together. Maybe some of this is them getting together and some of the fighting that's going on as they're kind of trying to organize.
Well, here, let's take a step back and decide that we're making a villains area. And that's our reason. The villains have gotten together to say, we want to take over this park. The main ride could be that. It could be the villains ganging up on Mickey Mouse and his friends, and they have to stop all of the villains.
Now, I like this idea, where the start of the ride is maybe we're following Mickey as he is investigating, right? Like, I'm kind of
Mhm.
thinking about the Epic Mickey video game right now. The storyline's a little hazy to me, but I feel like that game was a lot of fixing what villains had done, right?
Mhm.
So maybe that's where we're starting, is Mickey is investigating what these guys are doing. And the first ride follows through, and you see some of the meetings happening and see some of the plotting going on. But at the end of the ride, Mickey doesn't win in this case. He comes out scared and worried. Part 2 is the next ride. So there's kind of a story you have to follow through the land. You're shaking your head.
I mean, I like that. I feel like so if Brian and I were Imagineers, this is what I would say to that. I would say I think what we need to do is um so the whole land is cohesive, right? Like the theming and everything. We've got different areas where like you can obviously see that like certain villains are doing stuff. Um and so but I think that just thinking about how these other lands have functioned, I think like the main ride needs to be that. Well, I guess this isn't saying that your idea is bad, but like that main ride is like the quest, is like Mickey going and possibly fighting these bad guys. And then another one could be like a side quest where like other villainous things are happening. I don't know. Like maybe it's like maybe another ride could be, and it could be I guess that's that geographically that doesn't work. I was almost thinking like a Gaston ride where it's like you are a part of the angry mob and you follow Gaston out to Beast's castle, like something like that.
Yeah, well, I
Um,
mean, it would work, right? Like, because you're inside of a ride. So you
mhm.
just come out in the villain's land. But um, I don't know. Like, okay, so maybe it makes better sense that you have two separate rides that aren't connected to each other, because that could cause a flow problem within the park. Um,
Yeah.
right. And I think that's kind of what you were getting at. So as you were saying that, my idea was, again, back to Epic Mickey for some reason, Oswald played a big part in that video game, right?
Mhm.
So maybe that's the side quest you're talking about. Maybe Mickey is one of them doing investigating and trying to fix the problem, while Oswald, I would love an Oswald ride of any sort. So
Mhm.
maybe he is the main character of that other ride, and somehow, some way, we could find a way to get them together at the end.
Mhm.
Be it a meet and greet. I don't know. I would love to see Oswald, and if we've already got Mickey that we're dealing with, I think that would really work out.
I mean, if we're doing a villains land, 100% these meet and greets are going to
Yeah,
be villains.
right.
So it's like I feel like might as well just like not even stick any main characters in there. It's just going to be villains all the time. The last thing I kind of wanted to like touch on is like what would this land look like? Like cuz it's funny that the thing in my head was like, oh, it could look like the hyena's den at one point, and then it could look like the Cave of Wonders or something at one point. But it's like, do we do like a Shadowland, like just like a really dingy kind of like looking place? Um, I don't know. Like I don't know what it would look like if the idea is we're taking all of these villain characters and putting them in one spot.
The picture I've always had in my head when they start talking about a villain's land or a villain's park, for some reason, like I think it's because of Maleficent, but I always see black and purple, like dark,
Mm-hmm.
spiky mountains. Like, I don't know. That's what I like. Maybe it's kind of what I think of with Phantasmic too. But I mean, the problem with my idea though is it's always really dark, right? Like, and
Mm-hmm.
I think about that with a lot of these characters. Like, what happens in all these Disney movies when the when there's bad news happening to the character or the villain is starting to win. It's dark and it's raining.
Thunderstorm.
Yes.
Yep.
How do we do that in the Florida sunshine?
Mm-hmm.
That's you can't just build a building and the entire land is inside of it.
That's true. Although, if Disney's listening, Disney, because I'm sure they were like, oh, these guys have some ideas about the Villains Park. Disney, if you're listening, I would enjoy that if you put a park in a building in the Midwest. That would be great. That's another conversation for another time.
Yeah, I would love to see a Midwest park. I'm not saying Chicago is a good spot, but it's probably a good spot.
They've already tried Chicago with what's it called?
No, Disney Quest was a failed arcade. Let's not say that this was their attempt at a park. This was aging technology that they threw into a building and tried to make some money. This is not. Now, okay, Disney Quest was a lot of fun. I did enjoy it when I was there, but it wasn't something made for the long haul. So, sorry, I'm not taking that. But they did look at St. Louis, and Walt was very, very close to St. Louis. So, I would even take it there.
Anyways, Villains Park. Yeah, I guess to wrap that up, it's kind of like a whole park. I feel like that would be tough. A land, a lot more doable, but they would have to get real creative with what's happening with that land and kind of like a theming of it. So
not to get too long-winded, but if we're not doing villains in a fifth gate, what is it going to be?
Well, I was actually just texting somebody this today. And I don't think Disney wants to do this because it's already a controversy. But one of the best lands, one of the best parks the Disney company has ever come up with is Tokyo Disney Sea. Now, it's not entirely their fault. It was just because they were able to just license all their stuff, and then Tokyo was able to use all their Tokyo money and build pretty much anything the Imagineers wanted to do. But there's that. They have animals, sea animals. I don't know. That's something that comes to mind. What about a music park?
Ooh.
Because I was trying to think of something that everybody likes. And what if it was a park, but one of the main draws was all of the live music that was happening, but then you also had around that rides about music, almost like a rock and roller coaster park, but it could kind of take you from the beginning of music where it's you've got a classical land, and then you've got a Baroque land, all the way up to jazz and pop music. So it's you've got all those lands, and in all of those lands, you've got the live music happening.
I think that sounds awesome. And the first thing I thought was characters. How would we get characters involved? Because that's one of the biggest things for parks right now is the characters. But my mind immediately went to jazz, and you've got soul, you've got Tiana, but the Baroque thing, you kind of lost me though. That, I don't know.
Well, yeah, there's not a really good way of introducing characters into classical unless it's just Mickey in a tux, which could definitely be a thing.
You look at PhilharMagic,
and
it doesn't really it doesn't go too well, but I don't know. I think it's a great idea. I think that would be a great fifth park, though. I think something with music, because people do stop and listen to music when it comes through. And you know, I keep thinking, my kids are in a choir that tours every summer, and I've been trying to push for a Disney trip. And one of the things that Disney does for any music group, whether it's choir, orchestra, band, whatever it might be, they have, as part of the program, if you were to go and do this, is you would go into a studio and you would perform a piece of music to a movie, whatever they have chosen for you, and you get that recording. So you're playing, like if you're in a band, you're playing the soundtrack. If you're in a choir, you're singing that music over the top of a piece of a movie that you know. Just like the animation experience where you get to learn to draw a character, I could see something where they bring a musical thing like that in, where everyone in the audience does something musical, whatever their ability might be. You know, like you kind of have to make it lowest common denominator, right? And everyone gets to take part, and then at the end of the thing you have something you could take home that shows that you were part of a music thing over the movie. I think that would really fit in there.
And what I'm thinking too is, think of it as like, you've been to Summerfest, right?
Yeah.
If anybody listening doesn't know what Summerfest is here in the state of Wisconsin, it is a giant music. It's actually the biggest, at least I think so. I hear that all the time. It's supposed to be the biggest music festival in the USA.
And they used to do it over 2 weeks, over around the 4th of July, but now it's over like 4 weekends, long weekends. So it's even bigger.
And a lot of humongous acts end up coming to Summerfest. But that the thing is that like there's just professional stages everywhere. Like there's these huge stages, and that's kind of what I'm thinking is like there are these stages just like littered around this park of like live music happening. And each stage is representative of like that type of music, kind of the same way Summerfest is. Well, Summerfest has like days, like they've got Country Day and they've got Rock Day and everything. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking is like, just think Summerfest, but with like also rides. That's like what's in my head.
So now I'm thinking it's kind of like an Epcot, the World Showcase, you know, like each pavilion, like that's a great idea. I'm liking that kind of layout. But let's get my music thing that I said in there too.
Well, of course, because there would be, I guess, like the classical area could be kind of like there could be a band shell, and like that's where like the band kids all go to do their concerts and everything.
Yeah, no, I think that would be an awesome park. Yeah, I love it. Mikhailo, I've been trying to lose weight recently, and I've wanted to be buying like some smoothies here and there just to get that sweet in for me. So I've got a BlendJet 2 portable blender, and I'm able to make smoothies with this thing just for myself.
You know, Brian, I too have a BlendJet 2, and I have been having a lot of fun with it, making smoothies on my own too. And you know, the BlendJet 2 is portable, so you can blend up a smoothie at work, a protein shake at the gym, or even a margarita on the beach.
It's small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through tough ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease.
BlendJet 2 is whisper quiet, so you can make your morning smoothie without waking up the whole house.
It lasts for 15 or more blends and recharges quickly via USB-C.
And best of all, BlendJet 2 cleans itself. Just blend water with a drop of soap and you're good to go. The cool thing about these BlendJets and what made us want to look into BlendJet is they have some Disney patterns. And you know us, we like our Disney things. Mine personally is a Buzz Lightyear Toy Story BlendJet. So I'm really excited about that. Brian, which Disney character did you get on your BlendJet?
I got Mickey Mouse because I'm a big Mickey Mouse fan, and actually, all three of my kids have got one now. So we've got a Minnie Mouse, we got a Minnie Mouse one, and we got the aliens from Toy Story.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Toy Story ones that they have on there, and I've been having a lot of fun with mine.
You name it, they've got a lot of different Disney ones, and I think it's so fun. What are you waiting for? Go to blendjet.com and grab yours today, and be sure to use the promo code MFMS12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping.
No other portable blender on the market comes close to the quality, power, and innovation of the BlendJet 2. They guarantee you'll love it or your money back.
Blend anytime, anywhere with the BlendJet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and use the code MFMS12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping.
Shop today and get the best deal ever. Okay, so we've come to the part of the show where we do some trivia, because we love us some trivia. And I believe it's my turn, Brian, to give you questions.
Yes.
Great. So I've got some questions here. They are Disney World centric questions. So hopefully you'll know these. I'm pretty sure you know the first one. But here's your very first question. What is the name of the secret tunnel system located beneath Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom?
The Utilidors.
That is correct. The Utilidors.
I always find it funny when I want to talk about those and I say something to a Disney person about Utilidors and they look at me blankly like, what is that? Like a cast member or something that I feel like should know that and they don't know. But
okay, here's a good one, Brian. What's the fastest ride at Walt Disney World?
I feel like we've had this one a couple of times, but that's Test Track.
That is correct. And how fast does it go?
64.9 miles per hour.
Exactly.
At least that's what the sign says.
Yeah, I don't think the sign is right. You might not know this one, but I'm going to ask you. Disney World opening day, how much was an admission ticket on opening day in 1971?
So this was back when they were doing the ticket books. Opening day admission. I've got $3.50 in my head, but I think that was... Oh my
God. How? Yes. $3.50?
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's correct. Here's one for you. How many resort hotels are in Disney World?
I want to say it's 28.
I'm going to give you this one because I scrolled down to look at the answer and it says there are over 25 resorts. It's like, okay, that's not an official answer. So I'm going to give you that. You're in the ballpark.
I'm in the ballpark.
Yeah.
I'm trying to count them in my head now.
I'm putting the phone down here for a second. What was the name of the area that you could go in downtown Disney that was a special cover charge and you could go to different nightclubs?
Paradise Island.
Try it again.
Pleasure Island.
Yes. Yeah. You.
Excuse me.
I knew
said
you
it
had
wrong.
it. I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did, and it was always New Year's every day.
Yes.
I turned 21 the year that I was there. I was there. I don't remember what time of year I was there. I think it was spring break. I was down there, but I had just turned 21 and it was St. Patrick's Day. So I was in Pleasure Island near the, like BET had a stage area, and I bought a green beer. That was my first green beer.
Wow. I believe that was that your fifth or was that your fourth?
I think that was 4.
Okay. I'm going to give you one more. Which item will Disney never sell in their theme parks?
Gum.
Correct. Chewing gum.
Yes, because people will leave it everywhere.
Correct.
Now you can, yeah, right? Like, you can bring it in.
Mhm.
They're just not going to sell it to
They're
you.
not going to sell it. And also, I learned this. They don't sell it anywhere on Disney property. I think there is even a gas station. I forgot which gas station it is.
It's a
But
Speedway.
yeah, that Speedway doesn't sell gum. That's on Disney property.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
So if you like gum, bring it with you because you're not getting it there.
Or just use mints.
Yeah. I see. Now, I thought for a brief second, I thought maybe you're throwing a curveball at me. And the answer was going to be stuffed animals because Disney doesn't sell stuffed animals, because who would want to buy an animal that's been like, because the animals live there too, right? So you don't have a stuffed animal. That's why they're called plush.
I never knew that.
Now, I know you guys can't see Mikhailo, but his head just like went kapoof,
Yeah.
exploded. I did that.
I never
to him.
knew that's why they called them plush.
Yes,
Anyways, that was 5. Brian got them all right because he's really smart.
I am. I. That's what I do.
He's the smart guy.
All right. So this week, I've taken all the answers to our trivia question. Now, let me remind you all what the question was. It was a multiple choice. Which of these attractions opened first? A, Splash Mountain. B, the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. C, the Haunted Mansion. Or D, Space Mountain. And I am going to say, we got a couple of responses. I threw them in the hat. And Amy N., congratulations. You have won. You won with your answer of the Haunted Mansion. And I'm so glad that you've been enjoying the podcast. She let me know. I met her a couple of weeks ago at a benefit and got her our information. She's been listening like crazy. We really appreciate that. I'm so glad that you found us and that you're enjoying the show. Let a friend know that you are too, please. So please, everybody, we've got another trivia question for you. As I said before, send in your answer to either our email, milesfrommainstreetpodcast@gmail.com, or you can even send us on Instagram or on Facebook a direct message, and we will take those answers if you have them correct, and we will throw them in the pot, and Mikhailo will draw out a sticky piece of gum, and if it has your name on it, you win. So, to remind you, you get a prize package of a really cool Disney keychain it's a Disney name tag keychain that has Miles from Main Street on it. And you get a sticker along with some other Disney gifts. So I know I owe a couple people some stuff already, and I will be getting that out shortly. So keep an eye out for that. I really appreciate you guys taking part in this contest. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm so happy to get these keychains out to people. So let's keep it up. All right. So this one you might have to dig a little bit. I'm going to go a little crazy for you, but again, this is Lou Mangello's first book. If you need to go looking there, I'm sure you can find this answer elsewhere. But what is special about the flag on top of the American Adventure Pavilion? A, it once flew over the White House in Washington, D.C. B, it has only 15 stars. C, it was recovered from the World Trade Center site. Or D, it was hand-stitched by a direct descendant of Betsy Ross. So again, get me your answers and we will get you those presents. Next week, I will take answers through Sunday, May 6th.
Awesome. I'm excited to see what answers people have because I don't know if I know this one.
we want to know your villains' ideas. Let us know. I think that was a great discussion. I really felt like an Imagineer there. So please, let's keep this conversation going. Let us know what ideas we may have missed, what you may take from our discussion and extrapolate from it. Like, I would love to keep that going and see where we could go with it.
But that's all we got for you guys tonight. But like we always say, some live close,
but others don't.
So let's talk about it. We'll see you next time on Miles from Main Street.